every card is like a mini lesson, right? For a situation that you experience in life.
Yeah.
Okay. So for example, if someone is practicing with tarot and they always seem to like pull the same cards, I feel like that happens to me. Like it's always like the same type of cards that come out. So does that just mean those are the lessons that you have not yet learned and you're meant to learn it? Like what does that mean?
Okay. So my question would be like, is this all while asking the same question, or is this while
Sometimes
asking
it's different
questions?
Yeah.
And then like the same things keep popping up.
Yeah.
Usually any lessons that we're going through in life have multiple layers, and usually they'll be present in multiple areas of our life, because if it's a lesson that we haven't learned in one area, likely it's going to show up in another area as well. So if we're having like troubles with boundaries in relationships, we probably likely also have issues with boundaries in work relationships as well. And so usually it'll overlay. And so some of those same themes are going to like pop back up because they're trying to tell you like, okay, we need better boundaries or something, or, any of the other cards that might pop up. But usually it's because, we're going through a similar lesson that's leaking into other areas of our lives as well. Or sometimes I've noticed that spirit will re-pop up the same card because it's referring to a previous question that maybe it's like, okay, you didn't hear what I was actually saying, or you didn't quite get what I was trying to say. So let me try to tell it to you in a different way. But that's kind of where intuition comes into play, because I've noticed sometimes when I'm giving readings to people, like sometimes the same card will continue popping up for a different question. And intuitively, I'll feel like, oh, there was another underlying message that we didn't even get into regarding your other question. And it's coming to me now because spirit's like, no, we're not done with your other question yet. We need to continue looking at this card because there's more here to answer more of your question. So sometimes I've noticed both of those things are true.
Yeah. I'm curious, what is your, I guess, ritual? Are you pulling tarot cards every day? Like how do you work with tarot? Like what does that practice look like?
Yeah. So for me, I used to pull tarot cards every day. I used to do it with like my morning tea, morning coffee. Now as a mom, I'm not pulling them every day anymore. In fact, it's a little bit more rare. But I would say for anyone wanting to get started, the more that you practice the tarot, the more that you use the tarot, the more downloads you're going to get. And even to this day, I've been studying tarot for over 18 years now, and I still will pull a card and get a completely new perspective, a completely new download while looking at that card. And so I'd say like the more that you practice it, the better you're going to get. And also the more that you can reflect on your own life and begin to match the cards to your own life experiences and learn from those experiences, or even when you're reading, like, let's say a self-development book, and then kind of getting epiphanies on like, oh, maybe this sort of teaching within the self-development book, where does it apply in the tarot, or how could I apply it there? And I've done that a lot within my own life, like applying manifestation. This is where I've begun to uncover like, oh my gosh, the tarot holds like a wild amount of secrets when it comes to manifesting.
Yeah.
And the more that you can just like connect your own experiences, or even connect teachings or other things that you're learning to the tarot, that's where you're going to get your most epiphanies. That's when you're going to get your most realizations. And also just looking at the energy of a card. Because I know a lot of people, when they're starting their tarot journey, tarot can be overwhelming. It's like, oh my God, there's 78 cards. They're all completely different. How do I memorize which one's which? How do I memorize their definitions? And one of the things that I always tell people is, when you look at the card, what type of energy do you feel? Because there's obviously going to be two different energies when we look at like the Magician versus the Four of Cups. And when you're using the Rider-Waite Tarot, I would say the Rider-Waite Tarot is the best at conveying the emotion behind what the card actually means. And so as long as you can read it emotionally, you'll already be so far ahead in being able to read the cards for any question that you ask, or even read the cards for a friend. You can convey or even just feel so much emotion from just looking at the imagery and kind of just feeling into what emotion does that give me. Like the Magician looks pretty dang powerful, whereas the Four of Cups, there's a little bit of sadness there, or So those are my little tips.
I do want to hear a little bit more about how the tarot is teaching you to manifest better. Like, have you had like a block in manifestation and then the cards gave you an epiphany of like, oh, this is how I move past it? Like what manifestation tips can you share with us?
The Strength card is actually another one of my favorites in tarot, because it talks about our animalistic instincts, which is represented by the lion, and then our higher self, which is represented by this like angelic woman, and then there's an infinity symbol above her head. And this shows that our higher self, we're always connected to them, and our higher self is like a part of us. But then, of course, we also have our ego, which is that animalistic side. And the ego always tries to keep us safe. And so a lot of the times when we're on our manifesting journey, we might come across something such as, oh, I need to believe that my dream career can happen for me, but maybe that feels really, really scary because we're like, but what if it doesn't work out? And what if I fail? And what if I end up in a worse off position than I'm currently at? That's your ego speaking to you, right? That's your ego trying to keep you safe because it's saying like, I've never walked the realm of my dream career before. I don't have any experience with that. I don't know where that's going to lead me. That seems a little bit scary because our ego, its one purpose is quite literally to keep us safe. So it tries to keep us in the familiar. And I've noticed this a lot within my own life. Anytime that I'm trying to strive for something new, my ego tries to come in and say like, but what if it doesn't work out? What if it fails? What if you end up in a worse off position than you were before? And of course, that's the ego trying to keep us safe because that's our survival mechanism. But true manifestation happens when we are able to control our ego, when we are able to come in as our higher self and say, you know what, this is better for me. Because a lot of the times also, like, you might already know that, oh, if I start making more money, that's going to be better for me because I'll have more freedom, I'll feel safer. But the ego, even when you're trying to program yourself or manifest more money, knowing that it's going to help you, your ego actually might be unconsciously self-sabotaging you from making more money because your ego associates with more money with the unfamiliar and being unsafe. And we might have unconscious beliefs that say like, oh, people who make more money end up being evil because people with money are evil. You know, that's a really common belief system that some people might have. And so if your ego thinks that people with money are evil or people with money, you know, maybe you're thinking like my parents are going to reject me because they've always judged people with a lot of money and my parents won't like me anymore. The ego is of course going to be absolutely terrified of making more money because that means that you're going to get rejected by your parents, or that means that all of a sudden you're going to become evil, even though those things aren't necessarily true. But a lot of the times we're, you know, programmed with these different belief systems that might be holding us back. So the ego, even though an opportunity might come your way to make more money because you're trying to manifest more money, but that belief system is still there, the ego is going to self-sabotage you every single time. The ego is going to try to bring you down to your baseline. So even if you do manifest more money coming in, the ego is going to say, I need to spend it really, really fast because if I have money, again, my parents are going to reject me, or, you know, I'm going to become evil or something because money is associated with evil. Our belief systems and our ego, the way that our ego has been programmed, is always going to try to take over and also try to revert us back to what's familiar and what feels safe, even if it's not necessarily better for us. So again, the strength card, it has been one of my greatest epiphanies for the higher self can always be in control of the ego. And right when you use your higher self to tame the ego and say, no, ego, it's going to be safe. Like, look at, she's literally holding the mouth of the lion, being like, you know what? I'm not going to listen to my ego. My higher self's going to come in and my higher self is going to tame my ego. My higher self is going to say, you know what, ego? It is safe for me to manifest more money. I am still going to be loved by my parents. I'm not going to become evil. I'm going to do good things with money. I'm going to make my dream life because of this. We're literally going to be better off because of this. So right when you can really start to use your higher self to really talk to your ego, to tame your ego, that's one of the keys to manifesting. So that's one of my
I
one of
love
my favorite
it.
cards. Yeah.
So good. Anything else that came to mind?
Oh my gosh. Okay, all of this. I mean, we could go through every single card.
I know, but I'd love to hear. I love it.
This card is a card that scares a lot of people, and it's the Devil card in tarot.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, this is one of my favorites. Even when it comes up in readings, I'm always like, oh, I'm excited to read this one. The reason being is because this is one of the most powerful cards in the tarot because it talks so much about the things that limit us. The Devil is the representation of illusions that we are attached to. So he represents illusions. So for example, like we have the two man and woman here that are also represented in the Lovers card. So these are lovers, but they're chained here to something that is an illusion. So this can, just for example, represent a toxic relationship. But let's say that you look at the toxic relationship and you're like, oh, but they're the love of my life, or, oh, but they could be, I see this goodness within them, but even though they keep cheating on me or keep lying to me or keep doing this or that, I see the goodness within them. That is the illusion of the devil. So that's you being chained to something that's toxic, that's clearly not good for you. It's clearly holding you back. It's holding you back from the true potential soulmate that you could have, because you're staying in illusion. You're wearing rose-colored glasses, saying that, oh, but this person always, they're at least honest with me. They tell me that they've cheated on me. Or, maybe this person is like, becomes good here and there, or does fancy things here and there. It's like, oh, but they bought me flowers to say sorry. I see the goodness within them. They have a good heart. But again, that's kind of like being caught up in the illusion of the devil. Or another thing that it could represent is like escapism, such as like drugs and staying addicted to drugs or alcohol, or even food, like being addicted to certain food. The illusion of the devil is like, oh, I'm giving you dopamine. I'm making your life greater. I'm making your life better. But then the illusion of the devil is like, well, those things are really not good for you. They're actually destroying you.
Yep.
And so it talks about all those different illusions, but it can also talk about ways that we repress ourselves. So tying back to like limiting beliefs, because the chains represent our limitations, things that we feel like we're limited by, but we're actually not, because they could remove these chains at any time. And so, such as like, oh, I can't manifest my dream career because, it's only 1 in a million and I come from this particular background. Therefore, I can't manifest the career of my dreams because that's just not realistic. Well, the devil says that's absolutely an illusion that you're being tied to. That's an illusion of previous programming. That's a chain you could easily take off of yourself, because you could easily start telling yourself a different story, such as, my dream career should be meant for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this dream or desire within me anyway.
Wow.
You could start telling yourself that story, and all of a sudden, where did the chain go? The chain doesn't even exist anymore. So it's these illusory chains that we can be held in. So yeah,
that's such a good one. Okay,
yeah,
I'm so glad you shared it.
That's why I love when that card comes up, because also I feel like the tarot offers us like such deep transformation, which is why I love reading it and I love using it as a tool for manifestation, because like you can gain so many epiphanies. And a lot of the times in manifestation, we don't really know what's holding us back, which is another reason why I love using the tarot. Because sometimes when I'm stuck, I'm like, okay, tarot, tell me why I'm stuck. And, maybe this card's going to come up and I'm going to say, oh, there's like something I'm tied to that I think is real, that I think is good, that I think is keeping me safe, or some sort of illusion that I'm putting over myself that is limiting my true potential.
Yeah.
And so I love using it for manifestation for that particular purpose. And yeah, it's been something that's been amazing in my life.